بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. You know, in our time we are actually day after day we are losing some certain part of the you can say Islamic science. Okay, so many science that we used to have in the past, but right now we don't have them all. So for example, now even some of us may think that mashallah we have great fuqaha, great faqih, because Mufti Maulana means faqih, as well as we have great scholars of hadith, because Dawratul Hadith, there are many teachers, and we have great scholars of Arabic language, etc. But you just take my word, I did have long experience in this field, so I say we do not have many of them. Just trust me. So for example, I had many teachers, okay, many teachers, and I'm quite skeptical that I had a single scholar amongst my teachers. I don't want to be offensive towards my teachers. I love them and I respect them, but the status of a scholarship, proper scholarship, is much above them all. Okay? So that's why, and there is another saying of Arabians, they say, "An-nasu a'da'u lima jahilu," means people are enemies of something that they don't know. Okay, so people will be, people, if they don't have some information, and then you bring it, first thing, people will be enemies of that statement. Okay, so in our time, we have to convince the people, before teaching them, we have to convince them that it is our knowledge. Okay, and even after convincing, majority, they do not accept it. Why? Because their shuyukh, they don't know, they don't have an idea about this subject. So their sheikhs will deny it, and then we only follow our shuyukh. Okay, so it's like a sheep's following goat, and goat is the most you can say stubborn person. Okay, and he will never accept, okay, whatever he dislikes. Okay, or camels in caravan following the donkey, and we know what donkey is. Okay, and it is very good sign from God. It is very good sign from God that, for example, if there will be big number of a sheep, okay, so then its leader will be goat, and caravan of camels, its leader will be a donkey. Okay, but yet there will be some horses on the sides, independent. Okay, but they are in the same journey, but horse is not following the donkey, but they are going in the same journey. Did you understand? So it is good sign for us. Okay, so majority of the people, they just follow the people, someone who's very stubborn, very ignorant. Okay, but yet we have some noble people who have their brain in their heads. Okay, so that so our message, the message of our organization, is addressed to that type of noble people who have open mind. Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praised that type of people, saying, "Alladhina yastami'una al-qawla fayattabi'una ahsana." It is the true believers are those who listen to everything, all of the people speaking, but then they follow the best one. Means there is brain. Okay, it's not just block your eyes and close your eyes and block your ears and don't listen to anyone because all of them are bid'atis. It's not that, but they listen to everyone. يستمعون القول. So they listen to the speech. فيتبعون أحسنه. But then they follow the best statement. Okay, so our message is addressed and directed for that type of people. Okay, so now in terms of ilm al-qiyafa, do I have any basis of ilm al-qiyafa in the Islamic, you can say, sign? So we say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِلْمُتَوَسِّمِينَ. Indeed, in the ayats that Allah mentioned, indeed, in these ayats there are proofs and there are good evidences for the people whom Allah called mutawassimin. Mutawassimin means, Ibn Abbas said, mutafarrisin, people of firasa. Okay? Mutawassimin, the literal meaning of mutawassimin is coming from wisam, which is sign. Okay, for example, let's suppose that you are sitting. Now it is summer. It is summer, and then you hear the voice of a crow. Straight away you understand that there is something wrong. Am I right? Because how come in the summer and crow? Okay, so there is something wrong. Okay, there was an incident. Okay, so in which people were sitting, and there was boyfriend and girlfriend, and the lady, the young lady, her father was very strict. Okay, suddenly they were sitting, guests were sitting. Suddenly, father jumped up and then went, said, "Stop wherever you are." Okay, and then his daughter started crying. Okay, what happened? Because it was summer, and then suddenly the voice of crow was done. Father understood that something is going, and it was the boyfriend calling his daughter from far away. So father straight away understood. Maybe if we would be there, we would just pass it maybe. We wouldn't even understand what's happening in there. Okay, but there are people, mutawassimin, who are taking sign, you know. There is some sign in the wrong place, it means something. And then they derive from it.
Is it like taking an omen?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, as well as there is hadith in which Rasulullah ﷺ says, إِنَّهُ كَانَ فِي مَنْ كَانَ قَبْلَكُمْ مُلْهَمُونَ. Okay, muhdathun, sorry, that's the proper wording. فَإِنْ يَكُنْ فِي أُمَّتِي فَعُمَرْ means there used to be before you people of firasa, and if we have anyone in my nation, so that is Umar radiallahu anhu. Okay, so these are the good proofs of the firasa. Okay, as well as Umar radiallahu anhu was a man of firasa. If you remember, when Umar radiallahu anhu was Khalifa, in his time there was an incident. Okay, so two men were married to the same lady. How? Because the second marriage was invalid, according to the fiqh. So anyway, it was not valid, and both had sexual act. And she gave birth. And after that, both of the fathers came to claim that it is his son. Okay, and then when he came, Umar radiallahu anhu brought qafa. Qafa means the people of firasa. Just by looking at the face, they can make their statements about the individual. So he brought two experts of that, saying, can you find out who is the father? Okay, so then both of them made their statement saying that he belongs to both. Umar radiallahu anhu said, when I saw the baby, I straight away understood that he belongs to both. But I have never seen it in human being. I used to see it in the animals, but not in a human being. That one baby belongs to two fathers. Anyway, so we do have this ilmul firasa as a part of our religion, as well as in Hanbali madhab. For example, we Hanafis, we have the foundation of our religion is based on Quran, Sunnah, Ijma', Qiyas, Istihsan, and some more issues. For example, the opinion of Sahabi. So in Hanbali madhab, one of them things called firasa, knowledge of firasa. So knowledge of firasa is one of the foundations of the madhab, Hanbali madhab. So it is our science. Okay, so the ilm al-firasa, face reading, is one part of our religion. Okay, and unfortunately, now because it is forgotten knowledge, so now we have to convince the Maulanas and Muftis saying that it is our religion. We have Quranic ayat and ahadith, and even the Hanbali madhab, it's foundation of Hanbal, so we have to convince them. And even after that, most of them do not accept. Okay, so unfortunately. Anyway.
Sheikh, is it the same level as dream interpretation, or a bit less, or a bit more?
I would say all of them are on the same level, but all of them gives you certainty. But mistake comes from the scholar who is giving interpretation to any of them. Or otherwise, all of them signs are certainty. Okay, inshallah, for example, today you will see, we will describe the features, and it is based on certainty. But sometimes we may make mistakes because of our shortcoming from our side. Okay, for example, if you know Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or for example, it is in Quran, Allah using the dream interpretation as one of the source of knowledge. But then mistake or the error comes from the person who is giving the interpretation. Okay, same thing about a face reading. But when you will perfect the subject of face reading or feature reading or voice reading or palm reading or whatever, so then when you grow up, so then your statements will be more and more reliable. Okay, but in the beginning we all will be making mistakes. Okay. Okay, so anyway, just before we'll go to the subject, I want to mention some of the stories of face reading. Some of the stories of face reading. Once Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu looked at Ashtar. Okay, Ashtar, it is the person after the death of Umar in the time of Umayyads. He is going to give Muslims very hard time. He slaughtered so many people. Okay, very oppressive person. He became one of the top people in the time of Umayyads. So Umar radiallahu anhu looked at this person called Ashtar, and then Umar radiallahu anhu looked, he just focused on him, okay, very deeply. So from his top to the toes, okay, for a couple of times. And then he pointed on him saying, Inna lil muslimina min hadha yawman asiban. Means, indeed, Muslims are going to get very hard time from him. And afterward, when Umar radiallahu anhu did, that in the time of Umayyads, Ashtar actually, he brought a lot of problems to the Muslims, killing so many people, and many other things. We're not going to go to the details.
Couldn't Hazrat Umar have killed him at that time to save that problem?
No, because there is no, our religion is Zahiri religion. It is in the religion of Khidr alayhi salam. You can act, okay, based on the consequences that's going to happen in the future. But in our religion, you don't have a right to do so, except if he did something in the past and he is catched, then you can apply punishment. But for whatever you see in the future about him, you can do nothing about him. Okay. And also another story, very famous story, Uthman radiallahu anhu. Someone came to Umar radiallahu anhu to visit him, and in that time, Uthman radiallahu anhu, he was Khalifa. So then just before going to visit Uthman radiallahu anhu, he saw some lady outside. Okay? And then maybe he just spoke to, so whatever, some things happened there. And then when he went in, Uthman radiallahu anhu looked at him, focused on his face, and then he said, what's the matter to some of you committing zina and coming to visit me? Okay, so he read that from his face. Okay, as well as the next story is Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu says that the most knowledgeable people about firasa are three people, all of them mentioned in Quran. They are the most knowledgeable people about firasa, knowledge of firasa. Ibn Mas'ud said the first one is, do you remember the prime minister of Fir'aun? When the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam, they thrown him into the well, okay, some caravan came and then they took him. And then the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam came saying, it is our slave, and if you want, we are willing to sell our slave. Okay, so because the caravan people, they have sent some of them to go and get some water. So when he did throw the container into it, so when he took out, it was Yusuf alayhi salam there. Okay, so then the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam, they came. By the way, we have to be careful because some of our scholars within Ahlul Sunnah, they say that the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam, they became prophet afterward. Anyway, we do not go to that disagreement right now. So anyway, so when these caravan merchants, they brought Yusuf alayhi salam to Egypt. Okay, so the prime minister was in the market in that time. So he was just walking, and then he saw him, and then he looked at him, he read something. and then he bought him. And then when he came to his wife, Zulayha, what did he say? It is the statement of the Prime Minister of Fir'aun is in Quran. What did he say? He said, Akrimi mathwa. Show respect to this kid. Okay? Akrimi mathwa. Asa an yanfa'ana aw nattakhidhahu walada. Because it could be that he will benefit us somehow, or we will adopt him as our kid. And afterward, did Yusuf alayhi salam benefited them or not? Indeed. Okay? So afterward, Yusuf alayhi salam, he became the king. Am I right? The minister of economy of Egypt. Okay? As well as during all of them problems that the wife of prime minister caused, Yusuf alayhi salam showed the best perfect virtues. Okay? Behavior. Again, and even in some of the Israeliyat, it says that after the death of the prime minister who bought him, he married the Zulayha. Okay, as well as okay. Anyway, so because he said, "Akrimi mathwa," show respect to him. Asa an yanfa'ana. It could be possible. It is possible that he is going to benefit us. So, question: how prime minister could read all of that from the face of a kid? Something about 8 to 12 years old kid, Yusuf alayhi salam in that time. So it is firasa. Okay. So then Ibn Mas'ud says, and the second person, the most knowledgeable person about firasa is the daughter of Shu'aib alayhi salam, and the story of daughter of Shu'aib alayhi salam and Musa alayhi salam. Am I right? Okay. So do you remember? It is a story. So Musa alayhi salam was a stranger. Came from Israel, came from Egypt, okay, to Arabian Peninsula, okay, that is called Saudi Arabia right now, towards the north of Saudi Arabia. That is the place of Medina. And he was set under the shadow of a tree. And then he saw people, they were coming to water their camels. And there were two ladies, young ladies, they were ashamed because it was only men, and they were ashamed to bring their camels. So then Musa alayhi salam, straight away he stood up and then went to help them. Okay? And then after that, Musa alayhi salam came back to the same place, to the under the shadow, and then one of the daughters of Shu'aib alayhi salam came. Quran quotes saying, "Tamshi ala istihya." She was coming, walking, being ashamed. The style of walking is very like a shy person. Okay? And then she said, my father is calling you to reward you because you did help us. Okay? And after that, when Musa alayhi salam came, he met the prophet. But in that time, Musa alayhi salam was not yet prophet. Shu'aib alayhi salam, as soon as he saw him, he understood that it is the Rasul of his age. Okay? And then Musa alayhi salam narrated the story that I killed one of the Egyptians, etc. So then Shu'aib alayhi salam said, now just be calm, because now you are protected in safe place. Okay? And then the Ibn Mas'ud, the statement of Ibn Mas'ud is about the daughter of Shu'aib alayhi salam. What did she say? She said, Ya abati istajirhu. Oh father, take him as a labor. Okay, and then what did she say? Here is the firasa. Inna khayra man istajart al-qawiyyu al-amin. Because the best person to take a labor as a labor is the reliable, qawi, strong, al-amin, trustable person. Okay, now question, how, so we can understand that qawi, maybe, I disagree with you guys, so maybe you can say that, mashallah, muscles, 100%. Musa alayhi salam physically was very strong, very beautiful, handsome person. Okay, but she means strength in terms of personality. Can you imagine so many people with the camels, especially shepherds of the camels? They are very tough people. Even by then, Musa alayhi salam could go and push him inside and then get his turn. So that is the strength. But on top of that, Amin, where did she read it from? Reliable. Just by you helping me to water my camels, how do I know that you are reliable, trustable? that I can leave you, for example, in my house and you will not touch nothing. How can I know it? So that is ilm al-firasa. So the second, Ibn Mas'ud says, the second most knowledgeable person about ilm al-firasa is the daughter of Shu'aib alayhi salam. And who is the third one?
So Sheikh, do you have a name for her? No?
For whom?
For the daughter.
It's in Israeliyat, it is there, but Rasulullah, in my knowledge, he did not give us any name. Yeah. Now, question, what do you think, who is the third person that is mentioned in Quran?
Do we get a hint?
Sorry?
Do we get a hint? Which at the time was it Sahaba's time or Prophet?
No, it is in Quran.
Isa alayhi salam?
Isa alayhi salam? Why?
I'm not sure, I'm just guessing.
Maybe I agree with you because there is a statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about Isa alayhi salam after spreading a message. Then Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, suddenly he felt that they will be neglecting. People will be neglecting him. So what Allah says, فَلَمَّا أَحَسَّ مِنْهُمُ الْكُفْرَ قَالَ مَنْ أَصَبَ. So فَلَمَّا أَحَسَّ means when Isa alayhi salatu wasalam felt. So he had a feeling. Where from? Firasa. I agree with you on that point. But we say the prophets, all of the prophets are supported by wahi, and even without wahi, in terms of brain, they are much above the brain of average people. I agree with you. But in our issue, we are talking about the average people. Because the prime minister of Pharaoh is not a prophet, as well as the daughter of Shu'aib alayhi salam is not a prophet, and there is third person. Okay, I want to give you some. Why? In which incident?
I'm just guessing.
No.
Is this where Yasid, when the man comes from part of the village?
What happens?
He says to his nation that believe in him, believe in the prophets.
What is firasa? In the stories, they say before this incident, it is he was a shepherd outside of the city. So the ummah of them two people who came from Isa alayhi salam, they cured his daughter from non-curable illness. So there was no any firasa. Actually, he saw that. Okay, so the third person is a wife of Pharaoh. Wife of Pharaoh. For you to understand the incident, can you imagine that you are a wife of a minister, a wife of a president who is killing some certain nation. And after that you find a cradle, and in the cradle one baby from that nation whom your husband is killing. Okay? And just by looking you say قُرَّةُ عَيْنٍ لِي وَلَكَ. قُرَّةُ عَيْنٍ لِي وَلَكَ means it is the enjoyment that will give us pleasure. قُرَّةُ عَيْنٍ in Arabic language means it is our pleasure. Okay? This baby is going to be our pleasure. Okay? Now, so when the cradle came with Musa alayhi salam, and Musa alayhi salam was yet a baby. Okay, so then the wife of Sayyidah Asya Amarat, Sayyidah Asya, so it is, you can say, a stepmother of Musa alayhi salam. Just by looking, she said, do not kill him because he is going to be qurratu aynin li walak. Okay, it is the pleasure of us, me and you. Okay, لا تقتلوا, do not kill him. عسى أن ينفعنا, because it could be possible that he will benefit us. أو نتخذه ولدا, or we will adopt him. Did Musa alayhi salam benefit the people or not? Of course, bringing the best message in that time, Rasul, not Nabi, but on top of that, Rasul. Okay, so it was actually the third person to be the best knowledgeable person of ilm al-firasa. Okay, according to Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu. Okay, now let's quote from the scholars. Imam Abu Hanifa, he was one of the people of Firasa. What happened? Do you remember when you can say main judge of Abbasi Khilafah in Baghdad, when he passed away, now there were four people, four scholars, okay, who could replace the judge. Okay, so then Khalifa has sent his police people to bring them. Okay, so then Abu Hanifa, when they have sent him, so Abu Hanifa said, let me guess. Okay, use my firasa. Okay, so it was Abu Hanifa and Shuraik, and then Sufyan al-Thawri and Mis'ar. Okay, so one of them four supposed to be a judge. So then Abu Hanifa said, but in terms of me, I'm going to use a strategy just to avoid the position. But in terms of Sufyan al-Thawri, he's going to run away. Okay, and then he said Mis'ar is going to imitate as if he would be insane. Okay, but then he said, but Shuraik is going to be a judge. He's going to accept the position. So then what happened? So police, they came and then they've got all of them, four, in one go, and they were just walking. So Sufyan al-Thawri, he said, is it okay please, because I'm very desperate, I need to go, you know, just doing this, you know, with his legs, you know. So then he, people, I mean the police, they said, okay, but very quickly, because we don't have a time, you know. Khalifa is waiting for us. Okay, so then, Sufyan al-Thawri just went behind, and it was just next to the Dijna, okay, the river. Okay, so then he just went behind the wall, okay, and then he was very down, and then he saw people in the boat. So he called them and said, please can you help me, because there are people behind this wall, they are willing to slaughter me. Okay, and he did not lie, he just made up a ta'reez. Okay, because if you know, Rasulullah ﷺ says, anyone who will be given the position of judge, so he has been slaughtered without knife. So he meant that. Okay, means they are going to slaughter me, means they are going to give me position of judge. You understand? So then they said, go, very good. So then he just jumped into the boat, so then he just ran off. And they're waiting, nothing. So then when they came, they found no one. Okay, and then, so anyway, and then the second person, it was Mis'ar. Okay, so then when they went to the palace, royal palace, so Khalifa said, Assalamu alaikum ya Shuraik. Okay, Shuraik. So then he said, Wa alaikum salam, oh your majesty, how are you doing? How is your wife? How are your daughters? Okay, and how are the animals, donkeys doing well? So his prime minister just whispered saying, he looks like insane. Let him to go. So he said, yeah, we are all well, but you can go back home. So as Abu Hanifa says that he's going to imitate that he's insane. Okay, and then it was the turn of Abu Hanifa. He said, okay, Abu Hanifa, how are you doing? You are going to be my judge. Okay, so then Abu Hanifa said, I am son of the kings of Azhar. And Khazaris are, and the Iraqi people, they hate the kings of Azhar. And they will not be happy if you will appoint me as a judge above them. Okay, so Khalifa thought actually it makes sense. Okay, can you imagine, for example, let's suppose that two nations hate each other. Okay, let's say, for example, what are the two nations that hate each other? So let's say, for example, any two nations. Let's say that I'm from the royal family of the nations that you guys hate. And then I will be appointed as a judge. Will you guys love it? Of course not. So it was really good strategy from Abu Hanifa. And it was real thing. It was real thing. Okay? And then after that, it was Shuraik. So Shuraik, he tried to avoid it. But then Khalifa said, look, I don't have anyone else left. You want, you don't want, you are going to accept it. So then Shaykh said, I have a bad temper. Okay, I have a temper, so I may oppress the people. So then Khalifa says, okay, we'll give you chewing gum, Lubban. So you will chew it. No, actually it releases the stress, you know. There is Lubban, very famous, even in herbal medicine we use it. So if you chew it, somehow it releases, you know. So if we have brothers with high temper, so it is advice from the Khalifa. Okay, and then he said, as well as I'm very sharp, I do not look if it is a respectable person or not respectable, I judge upon all of them. So he wanted to avoid it. Okay, Khalifa said, I love it, I don't mind, even if it is my son, I want you to apply the judgment. So that how he was unable to avoid. Okay, so it was a beautiful face reading from Imam Abu Hanifa. Okay, so now the third one, are you okay with the stories? There is one long one, I'm going to narrate it if you do not get bored, but it's a very interesting one.
Shaykh, you know Imam Abu Hanifa,
Yeah.
he's the descendant of kings.
Yeah.
Is that from his mother and father's side?
No, from father only.
Father.
Yeah. Because in my narration he says Khazar. Khazar is part of Turkic people. But in my knowledge he was king from the royal family of the Persians in Kabul. Okay, in our time in Afghanistan. But Khazar, it is mainly the Turkic people, because there is another narration in which it says that Abu Hanifa is not from Kabul, but actually he's from Termith. So if he's from Termith, so then he's from royal family of the Turkic people, Khazaris. Now even for example, now you know, there is some weak opinion says that the majority of the Israeli people in Palestine now they're Khazaris. Have you heard about it? So Khazaris is Turkic people. Okay.
Russia.
Yeah. No, for example, I'm a Turkic. Okay, but I'm not Khazari. I'm Barlasi. Just we are cousins actually. Okay, so well, but in my own knowledge, Abu Hanifa is Persian, not Turkic. Okay. As well as Abu Hanifa was very dark, black-skinned, and Turkic people normally yellow. Okay, so Allah Alam, he's Persian. Allah, I don't believe that he's Turkic. But in my story, that's what it says. Anyway, so the third story, there was a very rich person, very wealthy person, and for some reason he had 3 sons, and all of them, the name was Abdullah. Okay, so Abdullah. Yes, so maybe he had a memory problem, so not to forget the names of his sons. So Abdullah is easy to remember.
Is that one of the best names, though?
Sorry?
Is that one of the best names to have?
Yeah, so the best name is anything that you have Abd and Hamim Dal. So Abdullah, Abdul Rahman, Abdul Latif, or Hamim Dal, Mahmud, Ahmad, Muhammad, okay, Hamad, okay, Hamd. Okay, so that's the best name. So anyway, what happened? Just before the death, this wealthy person said, okay, Abdullah will get inheritance from me, and Abdullah will not get nothing, and Abdullah will get inheritance from me. And then he died. Okay, now this is a problem. This is a problem, and there's big wealth. Okay, so each of them said, when he was saying that Abdullah will get inheritance, he was looking at me. And when he was saying Abdullah will not get anything from me, he just took his eyes from me. So that's how they were trying to grab something, you know. But it didn't help. So then they said, okay, let's do one thing. Let's go to the judge, Qadi, and let's get it sorted. My question to you guys, what you would do if it would happen in your family?
Oldest one first.
Okay.
Then so you went in order of age.
Okay. Anything else?
You probably just look at the situation. So, for example,
father is dying.
No. So what I mean is, for example, in a family, you know who the parent is more fond of and is more happy with. You know which child a parent's unhappy with, especially when they're quite close to death. It's really obvious.
Yeah. Okay.
So you know definitely by the situation, circumstance.
But what about if he hates all of them? So he's Uzbeki father. For some reason, Uzbeki fathers, they love daughters. Okay, but sons, very like official level, you know. How are you doing? Okay, that's it. Just go. You know? But with the daughters, oh, mashallah, happy birthday, you know, it's a bit strange. So, so it depends. If you are Uzbeki, means Abdullah means no any of you are going to get. Okay? So anyway, so let's follow the story. Judge is going to make his judgment. Okay? So they were just going to the Qadi. So they were in village. So they were just going to the city, to the office of the Qadi. So then on the way, they found some shepherd who was looking for his camel. He said, "Did you see my camel?" So they said, one of them said, "Is your camel has a defect in one eye, right eye?" He said, yeah. So that person said, "No, I didn't see him." Okay? And then the second person said, "Is your camel has a defect in one leg?" He said, yeah. He said, "So I didn't see him then." And the third person said, "Your camel has tail chopped off. Am I right?" He said, yeah, you are right. So he said, I didn't see him. I didn't see it. Okay? But it was strange. How you are describing my camel, but you don't know. Okay? So then, all of them, you know, he chased off all of them, saying, "I want to court you." So he said, "Anyway, we are going to the court, so let's go together." Okay? So they went, and when they came to the court, so the shepherd claimed. Okay, so he said, "Your Majesty or Your Highness, actually they did describe my camel, but then they said that we don't know." Okay, so but one of them described the defect in the eye and defect in the tail or leg, but then they said we don't know, we haven't seen. So he said, "So I think that they have stolen my camel." So judge said, "What's the matter? How you can describe the camel of this person, but then you don't know where is it?" So then the first person said, "Okay, Your Highness, I understood because just I looked on the plants, and plants actually, because it was the way path, and there were plants in both of the sides. And I have seen that from the left side it's eaten, but from the right side it's not eaten. Means camel doesn't see the plant from the right side, because it's like a defect. So it sees and goes and eats." Okay, so then judge said, "It's fair enough." Okay, and then he said, "But what about the second brother? How you could know that there is a problem, defect in the leg?" So he said, "Because I just looked on the path, and then I saw that the footprint of one of the sides is deeper than the other. And when you have a defect in one leg, so what do? You just slightly rely on one, and straight away you go to the second one. So from there, I understood that there is a defect in one of the legs." Okay, and then he said, judge said, "That's fair enough. But then third brother, how you can justify that you know the description that there is no tail, but you haven't seen the camel?" So he said, because I have seen in the past when it was doing its droppings, it was falling in one line, you know. So studied geometry perfectly. Okay, so just perfectly just drops in the same line. And normally the camel have a tail, and normally when it will be dropping, it will be moving, you know. So it will not be perfectly geometric, you know. So from there, he said, I understood that it does not have a tail. Most likely it is just chopped off. Okay, judge said that is fair enough. And then he said, okay, you shepherd, your claim is actually denied, avoided, neglected. Okay, so then when he went away, so he said, okay guys, what is your problem now? So they said, okay, so and so on happened, Abdullah. One of the Abdullahs not getting inheritance, but we don't know who is not. So then it was a proper problematic thing. Can you imagine that you are judge, okay, and then you are going to make a judgment on the case of these type of bright people? You feel yourself like a baby, you know? So then he said, okay, let me think about it. Just leave me 1 week and you are actually my guests in our palace, okay, you will get all of your keema and naan and all of it just perfectly just fed, and just stay here 1 week and let me make my own judgment. So most likely he thought that because there is no brain in that, but the general sub is waiting, so maybe she can give some way out of a problem. Okay, so anyway, so when he came back, he complained to his wife and to the people, saying so and so on happened, and I'm really stuck. Within 1 week, I have to make my judgment. And anyway, during that time, he said, the judge said, he actually sent the food, and then he has sent his slave as a spy. Okay, as a spy, saying, go and just listen to what do they say. Okay, so the person who brought the food, it was the slave of the judge. So then when he came, when he brought the food, when he brought the food, so when they saw the food, so one of the first brother said, actually this is dog meat. The meat, the keema is cooked from the dog meat. Do you know the Korean people, they eat a dog, you know? The dog meat is very hot mizaj, so normally, do you know the dog's fat? If you have chest infection, for example, if you use it on your chest, so it finishes off very quickly. But normally we do not use it. And the dog meat, in my knowledge, do I have any Malikis? Dog meat in Maliki madhab is halal, am I right? Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Is that including the bone or just the meat?
Well, if you like bone, so then bone is also halal. Thank you very much. So, the first brother said, by the way, the food which is in here is from the dog meat. The second brother said, you know guys, by the way, the lady who made the naan, she's pregnant, and that is the 9th month of the pregnancy. And the third person said, by the way, you know, the judge is Ibn al-Haram, you know. You know the meaning of Ibn al-Haram?
Yeah.
So I didn't mention the name of the judge, so no one knows him. So Ibn al-Haram means like born with no father, actually, out of marriage. Okay, so then spy went back. So now maybe it's the same tail guy. So judge now will cut off his tail now. You know? We can say Ibn al-Haram about the judge. Anyway, so when spy went to the judge, so he said, Your Highness, so and so on happened. Dog, okay, and you Ibn al-Haram, etc. So then he called them. So when he called them, he said, I've been told that so and so on thing happened. You guys, how do you know? First person said, so the first person said, do you know, so first person said, Your Highness, I know that it is dog's meat because the sheep and the domestic animals, halal animals, its meat normally will be on top of the meat. So first bone, then meat, then fat. Okay, but Allah created the predators to have their meat and bone, and between them there will be fat. So when it will be running, okay, to hunt, the fat will not be confusing the movement. Okay, so that's how I know that it is not sheep, but it is a dog. Because the meat that you brought, it was bone, fat, and then meat. It's not bone, meat, and fat. It was not like that. So then the judge called the cook. Okay, so he said, is it right that it is dog? So he said, please, can you forgive me, Your Highness? So he said, yes, I'm forgiving you, but say the truth. So cook said, because it was very respectable guests, and then you ordered me to cook and as soon as possible, because George was desperate to send his spy, you know, as soon as possible. But then cook said, and the the shepherd took the sheep far away, and I was afraid that if I will delay the food, I will get punished. So that's how I brought the dog and slaughtered, and I prepared the food. Okay, so he was the cook was afraid for his own tail, you know. Okay, anyway, and then he said, but what about, I've been told that some of you say that the person who prepared the naan is pregnant, and it is 9 months of pregnancy. So he said, yeah, Your Highness, it was me. And then he said, how do you know? So he said, because so it's naan, the Baghdadi, Iraqi naan is slightly different. So he said, because when I saw the naan cooked from one side perfectly, but the other side it was yet yellowish white. So I understood that she had too big belly to go lower to move it. So from there I understood that it is pregnant lady. So then he brought the cook, and then it was actually the pregnant lady. And then, but about the third one, so he said, I've been told actually that you said that I'm Ibn Haram. How come? So he said, please, can you give me safety so you will not touch me? So he said, of course. So then he said, because, look, it's very, very scary statement. Very scary statement. So he said, because no one sends a spy to his guests except Ibn al-Haram. Okay. No, because he read that from the face of the slave. Because normally when a servant brings food, so he will be behaving on some certain way. But if it is spy, he will be behaving on totally different way. Am I right? So cook will bring the food, and then he will say, please. But the spy will be looking, you know what's happening, you know. Okay. So he read it from there. So then he said, it's only Ibn al-Haram can send a spy to his own guests. Do you know the darkness, bad thoughts about the people? It's not from nowhere. Anyone has it. It's not from nowhere. Noble people cannot think evil about the people. So if you have some dark corner in your head about the people, you are thinking evil from, means there is something in your root. Just check it. Okay, just check it. So anyway, so then he went to his mother. So he said, oh mother, is it right that so and so thing? And she said, no. He said, please say the truth. So then she said, actually, yeah, your father was impotent, sexual impotence, so actually so and so happened. And you do not belong to your father. Then judge came back. He was really down. He said, here is my judgment. Okay, so the first brother is Abdullah that is inheriting. The second brother of the dog and of the pregnant lady. Both of them are the Abdullah that inheriting. But you are the Abdullah ibn al-Haram. You are not inheriting. So then he shouted, how do you know that where is the proof? So he said, it's only Ibn al-Haram can recognize another Ibn al-Haram. So it is a good sign, you know. The face reading is good sign. So as you can see, our knowledge is based on consciousness. Consciousness. When you pay attention, consciousness. Am I right? Or consciousness? Consciousness. So you stay conscious. Cautious. So when people do move, or when people look, or when people speak, you stay awake. Where is it coming from? Because any word will be thrown from nowhere. So there is a foundation of the word that he's speaking about. So what is that foundation? Where is it based? Did you understand? Or he makes some movement. No one, only insane person moves with no reason. Am I right? Okay, so just be very... Do you know Sherlock Holmes? Okay, so I would call him a Shaykh al-Himsi. Sherlock Holmes, Sheikh Himsi. So it's perfectly, because what is the story about? So he pays attention on very small details. Am I right? That's how he derives the whole story.
The Shaykh, they call it forensic analysis.
Sorry?
Forensic analysis.
Okay.
It's like basically like small detail and you can make a story out of it.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what Ilm al-Firasa is based about. So anyway, inshallah, during the lecture, when we'll get tired, inshallah, I will give you some more beautiful stories about face reading. Okay, but now we're going to stop here. And anyway, before we'll go for the short break, I want to let you know that alhamdulillah, we have finished the first sign of Ilm al-Firasa, and that was face reading. And the second subject of the Ilm al-Firasa is called feature reading. So I hope that you know the difference. So feature reading is only the small details. For example, eyebrows are on some certain position, shape, close, far from each other. Okay, nose, big, small, smash. So that is the small details. Okay, but then these small details will give you some certain information. But face reading, you just look over all the body, okay, and then you know what exactly person is. Okay, so I say face reading is more difficult, but it is bigger, more general. Because feature reading, it will give you a detail of only one corner of the character of the person. Is he generous or not? That's it. For example, white chest. Okay, or is he brave? Is he greedy? Only one thing. But face reading, when you read the face, so it will give you nearly everything about the person. But feature reading is only one detail of the character of the person. Okay? But feature reading is easier. So that's most common. More common that people practice. But face reading is more difficult, but because you have to find the, you can say, synonym maybe, of the person or twin of the person in the animal world. That is more difficult because animals look like each other. Okay, for example, tiger, okay, and then snow leopard and jaguar and leopard. Okay, panther, for example, looks like each other in terms of the human being shape. So it's very difficult. You will be confused. But feature reading is much easier because straight away you can know if the eyebrow is too close to each other or too far from each other. Just by looking once, you know that. Okay, but it is small detail, small corner of the character. When with face reading, it's everything about the person. Okay, his habits and you can say everything about the character of the person. Inshallah, we're going to go for a short break, maybe 5 minutes. After that, we'll catch up, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. You know, one thing is very obvious, why Allah has sent prophets, messengers. Hasan al-Basri radiallahu anhu says, one of the tabi'een, one of the students of Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, says, our egos are evil, nafs is evil, and we have been ordered to discipline ourselves. Okay, and that is our test in this dunya. Okay, so we let's suppose that I'm greedy man. I have to try to decrease it. Okay, or for example, I'm coward. I have to decrease it. Okay, or I am evil man. So I have to try to decrease it if I can, and if I'm unable, so then I have to try my best to stay away from people because I have evil nature, so to not to harm them, I have to stay away. Because I did try my best to decrease it and I was unable. So that's why I have to just stay away. So anyway, going back to the science of the eyes, yes.
You know, we did face reading, which was the first edition, and obviously this is the feature reading.
Yeah.
So, for example, how do you merge the two together? So, for example, you've got for example, in face reading, you said if someone's got the personality of a tiger, then they're going to be, for example, quite stingy.
Yeah, yeah.
But then what if on their face it demonstrates that they're quite generous?
Can be. It never can be. It never comes together.
So if it does, then, because there will be some contradictions.
So in that case, he will be the most generous tiger.
Which means greedy anyway.
Still greedy in comparison to the lion, for example. The greediest lion is much more generous than the most generous tiger.
So even, for example, this science, what the things we're going through right now,
Yeah.
to just look at them just in the, just as it's in itself,
Yeah.
it's quite misleading, isn't it? So for example, like, if you look at, for example, my face, and it shows I'm generous,
Yeah.
but then I'm a greedy animal. So you might think I'm a generous person, but without working out what my animal is.
No. Okay,
And similarly
theoretically you are right,
around-
theoretically, but practically I disagree with you. It never can be. So for example, we say one of the things, for example, courage. There are many signs of the courage. One of them is tough neck. Okay, now try to think about the brave animals. All of them have tough neck, am I right? Okay, so practically that's how it happens. But theoretically you could be right, but...
Because like, for example, I think you said, on the face,
Yeah.
that it means certain parts here mean, tell you about generosity,
Yeah.
and if they're generous or not.
Yeah.
But then I've seen quite a lot of people whose animals are meant to be quite stingy, but then on the face
They
it
have
shows
that.
generosity. So there's that contradiction there. So then you're saying, based on the animal,
Yeah.
they'll be the most basically generous of that animal.
Theoretically, but I do not go with that one. But theoretically, that's how it should be. But in
But
the
then you need to know someone's animal, don't you?
yeah, but in the real life, that's how it's going to happen. I don't believe that. Some, for example, a person whose animal is very greedy, I don't believe that he will have very wide chest. Can you give me an example?
Yeah, I think there's a few examples.
For example,
Like a person.
yeah.
There's a,
Which animal that is greedy but has wide chest?
tiger.
Has wide shoulder, but
Yeah.
chest,
Or
is
bear.
it wide?
Or bear.
Bear, it's hairy.
Yeah, which is
But-
generous.
No. Maybe panda bear is has wide chest. Am I right? Try to imagine the head of the bear. Wide chest means chest is much wider than the head. Do you think it is the same matter with the bear? I don't think so.
No, it's not.
No. So, I'm just teaching you, and to build up your own experience, your own understanding, your own analogy is actually your duty. Okay, but in the reality, I don't think that is possible. So the width of the chest is in comparison to the rest of the body. For example, head. Okay, so do you think that let's suppose that my chest is wide, but I have big head also. So it does mean that I'm generous. It does not mean that, because my chest is not wide. It could be wider than yours, but my head is bigger than yours. Means I do not have wide chest. But theoretically, your point is quite strong, yes. So if it happens, so then, for example, a greedy animal with wide chest, so he's supposed to be the most generous amongst his own animal.
So like, for example, the example you give about the eyebrows.
Yeah.
So you give an example about intelligence. So for example,
Yeah.
the eyebrows being a bit far away is a lack of intelligence.
Yeah.
So someone could be an intelligent animal, but they have that feature.
For example,
Okay, so for example, eyebrows being joined. What was that? That's
evil.
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 Lack of intelligence.
But it means evil character.
Okay.
But intelligence. Okay, so if it is very slim but joined.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
No, but then it will be evil intelligence, makar.
If animals got courage,
Yeah.
but he doesn't have a tough neck, so that means he'd be the most coward of that.
Yes, so that's what we're disagreeing. I say in the reality it cannot be.
I've seen it.
No, I don't. So like a person very brave but neck is slim. That's what you mean.
Yeah, because the animal's supposed to be brave, but then his neck isn't tough. So then won't he be the most coward of his animal?
So
what's still brave?
is that how it should be
For
theoretically?
example,
But I don't believe so, because normally people, they claim to be, Okay, so they will come. So a rabbit comes to you saying, "Oh, what's happening?" So if you say, "What?" he just runs off. So people imitate him.
No, but his animal's brave, but his neck's not tough. Because I've seen it from the...
Okay. Well,
But wouldn't that mean that he's the most cowardly animal?
so theoretically that's how it should be. But then I don't believe so. For example, is it possible that we can see a tiger man or lion man, okay, but with a slim neck?
Yeah, you could see a tiger or a bear or someone with a slim neck.
I don't. So
Yeah.
that's what I say. In real life, it cannot be.
Won't be he's the least brave out of his animal.
So theoretically, that's how it should be. But I don't believe that we have a lion with slim neck. No, it cannot be.
Unless he's got some kind of disease or something.
And then if his neck is slim, then how can you identify the lion?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it cannot be lion. So it becomes like la pussycat.
It's the same, you're using the features to determine what the animal is.
Yeah.
So they have to fall within a certain boundary to be
Exactly,
animal,
yeah,
otherwise do wrong and it's a different animal.
That's what, major ones, things like that, I agree with. But then I'm talking about small things like the eyebrows being together or the eyebrows being
Okay.
higher up. Or for example, you said that this bit meant generosity. If you've got too much in there,
Yeah.
that meant generosity.
Yeah.
That meant, greed.
Yeah,
So there's quite a few people who could be a tiger but have that in there, couldn't they? So have that bit not there.
Okay,
And that
but in
wouldn't
your
go-
own experience, you met that type of people.
Yeah. So then
Okay.
what I'm saying is, so for example, that coming in, that wouldn't
Yeah.
stop a person from being a tiger, would
No,
it?
it cannot be, no.
But then that means generosity, doesn't it?
Yeah, theoretically it means that, yeah, correct, yeah. So, okay. Okay. Anyway, these are the procedures, and how to apply it is your duty, actually, okay?
Sheikh, some people they have a head, maybe full black head of hairs, and they might have some white hairs. Is that in? They might be young, like 7, 8 years old or something. Is there any reading into that? Or not?
No, I don't think so, no.
No.
But we have reading the color of the hair.
Right.
But I ignored that
Okay.
because it was very obvious. Just I'm going to ignore that part. Okay, so eyes. So if the eyes are just sticking out, so normally it is a person, ignorant person, okay. Sticking out. So you should compare it to the donkey, actually. Okay, so it's donkey man, actually. Most of the time, sticking out. Eyes are sticking out. Okay, so donkey is a bit stubborn. Okay, as well as there is some type of courage, but it's not because of courage, but because of stubbornness and ignorant, no brain actually. But what about if eyes fall in, but very deep, okay, which we do not have today here any. So it is a person of a bit strange character, evil character actually, okay. So for example, evil strategies and that type of things, okay. So for example, when you're doing a business, okay, so he's playing two games. In one, he's with you, and in the second, you never know. Okay, so it's like that type of thing. So, but when eye falls in, which we do not have today any, so you know that, so these parts are just sticking out.
You have sunken in it, the sockets are outside, but the eyes.
Exactly, exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah. So eyes are proper in. But what about if it is a person whose eyes are a bit lower than the forehead, but is not in? So it is a person of noble character. Okay, so we have alhamdulillah quite a lot of that. So it's not proper in, but it's not in the same level. So when you look from the side, so you see that his eyes is not on the level of the forehead, as well as it's not sticking out, as well as it's not very in, but it's slightly in, goes in. So it is a noble person, okay, with very well behaved character, okay. And within the animals, most of the time it will be with a lion, Okay, so when you see this person, so most likely 90% that it is a lion man. Okay, so that's how it will be their eye. A person the person, now we're talking about the color of that, black thing. What do they call that? So there is white and there is black. Sorry?
Iris.
Yeah, so that's black bit.
The Jalidia.
Sorry?
It's called the Jalidia, Arabic.
Jalidia, correct, yeah. So which is the black one?
Yeah.
It's a circle, a small circle.
The lens.
Small circle, yeah.
The lens.
Lens, yeah.
Lens.
Check you have the white part, and then you have the part that is
The colour.
the colour, that's the iris, but the part, the dot in the middle, that's the pupil.
Okay, so for example, when you say blonde, which part of the eye is going to be blue?
Okay.
The iris,
That's what I'm
the
talking
iris,
about.
yeah.
So if that is black, okay, so if that is black, what it could mean? So there are two types of black, okay? One is reddish black and one is proper black, okay? And not red, but black, but a bit reddish black. So which is something close to the dark honey. I'm not talking about that one, okay? I'm talking about very dark black, okay? So it is the person who may not have very high courage, okay? But what about if it is proper red? So it is the person of high temper, okay, high temper. The person of yellow eye, but very crystallic pure yellow eye. So it is, do we have any today? We don't have any, do we? So it is the person, just insane, ignorant person. But if it is, if it is proper bright, like a light yellow, so it is covered. I mean, there is no courage at all. Zero.
Could these clash? So for example, if you could have somebody with yellow, so no courage, but then the chest might be really big, which shows courage.
No, so that's what we were talking about.
No,
so
that was with the animals though, isn't it? That's clashing
no,
with
because it's the same thing also.
Okay.
So is it possible that two things will
Contradict.
For example, contradict? So theoretically it could be, but realistically I don't think it's possible. Wallah alam. The person who has a lot of, do you know the white spot is not very white, but a lot, it's like muddy, okay, so it's evil personality. Do you know that, for example, around the black we have white, so that white is not very white, but muddy white, so that is the evil personality. Sometimes we may have a person who has a circle around his black spot, you know. It is the man of envy. Okay, so black spot, and on the white bit, it's like a circle. Okay, just slightly you can see. Most of the time it will be reddish yellow. Okay, so if you just focus, so you see that. So it is a man of envy. But what about if that black spot has a bit yellowish, you can say, color, So it is a person of a battle. So all the time from nothing, he makes up a story to fight with you. Okay? So for example, you will say to him, Assalamu alaikum. So he will say, why are you saying Assalamu alaikum? Where is your tupi? And then he will fight with you, you know? So he will make up a story out of nothing because he needs to fight today, you know?
What is it on the black or the yellow?
So no, around the black there is slightly yellow circle. So it is the eye. Okay, and there is the black spot, you know. But just around it, around it there is yellowish circle. Did you understand?
Yeah.
No, just look at the mirror. So just, for example, most of us will have that black and white is crashing into the black. But these people, they have white, black, and between white and black there is yellowish circle. Okay? So it is the people who have to make up a reason to fight, even if there is not any. Okay?
It should be present in both eyes.
Yeah, of course. It will be in the both of the eyes. And again, now we are talking about, for example, one will say dark, black, etc. So that is in comparison to your own tribe. Okay, for example, let's suppose that you are Mirpuri. Do you know the Kashmiri people? Do you know the Unani Kashmiris? So they are blonde people. So when I say black, I mean dark blonde. Do you understand? So everyone will be compared to his own tribe. Okay? So now, what about if it is very dark blue or very dark green? So it is a person, cheating personality. But we are talking about you have to compare the person to his own tribe. Yeah. It's just going too far. Okay, so now, in terms of the movement of the eyes, you know, sometimes we have active eyes, sometimes lazy eyes. So if you call someone, so his face may come to you, but eye will be still there, slowly coming, you know. But sometimes, some people, his eye will come before he turns, you know. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so what about the person whose eyes can move very quickly? Okay, so it is a person of proper makr. You know the meaning of makr? Makr karna, even it's Urdu. Makr is evil strategy.
But like intelligent evil strategies.
Yes, but very deep, intelligent evil strategies.
So you wouldn't even know that he's...
You will not know. You will not know.
I think Stalin had those eyes. Joseph Stalin.
Stalin was proper dumb, you know. Yeah. It's the people around him. They were very bright.
Oh,
yeah. So Stalin and even Brezhnev, all of them are proper dumb people. About
I've seen some
Brezhnev.
photos of him. His eyes look pretty shifty.
Sorry.
I've seen some photos of his eyes look pretty shifty.
Allah alam. But we have to compare him to the Georgian people. You know, they say about Brezhnev that is we make joke, but I think it's a real thing. So once he just was walking just with his people, and then he saw a monument. Monument just belongs to one of the poets. So let's say it's Sherlock Holmes. Okay. So then he just saw it. Oh, it's a beautiful monument. Whose monument is this? So people say it's Sherlock Holmes. So he said, oh, is it the one who sank in that ship? So they said, no, that is Titanic. So then he said, so then why did they build a monument for Sherlock Holmes then? Did you understand? So he was a proper dumb person. Yes. Anyway, so the person whose eye moves very quickly, so he is thief and man of very bad intelligence, evil intelligence. So be aware of that type of people. So do you know the people whose eye moves very quickly? Okay. So he's sitting and he's still, going round. Okay. So he is thief and very evil person. Okay. For example, he will be walking with you. Okay. But he prepared some hole just down the street. So he's walking with you just to make sure that you fall there. You do not go around, So when he's walking with you, you have to be cautious that he prepares something that's going to happen after a couple of steps. Okay, so that is the person of the eyes that moves very quickly.
They usually talk quite quick as well,
No, not necessary. Not necessary. For example, what do you think about fox?
Do you mean sly? Somebody who's sly.
What is sly?
Yeah,
Who's a bit underhanded, like they'll sort of lead you one way to sort of so they can reach a certain end point, but they'll do it in a way where it's a bit underhanded.
Yes, of course, yeah. But then you will think that he is doing favor to you. Okay, makar.
Yeah.
Even in Urdu is makar. Makkar, they call it
Makkar,
makkar. Okay, so a person whose eye moves quickly, that's his makkar person. Okay.
So like a fraudster would tend to be something.
Sorry?
A fraudster, person that does fraud.
Yeah, exactly. That's the person, yeah. And the person whose eyes are very slow, so it is a man of very deep thought. It is thinker person. Okay, thinker person. So for him to move his eye from one place to the other, it will not be very quickly. Okay? Or for example, let's suppose that in the bus, he's sitting in the bus, so 20-minute journey, he may not take away his eye from one place. When that fox person, he will see everything, within 20 minutes, he will just go to the black holes, so he will see everything, eyes are just running everywhere, But then I'm not talking about the extreme situation, because when we are angry, our eye, most of us, just moves very quickly when we are angry. But in the normal, calm situation, if your eye is very quick, so then you are makkar person. But if your eye is very slow, so you are thinker, philosopher, thinking personality. Yeah.
You were saying about somebody who's got the eyebrows very sort of thin and kind of caring nature, but then somebody who's obviously got the same person might have very quick eyes.
No, we spoke about it. So I say realistically, so two opposites cannot come together, but theoretically it can. So let's suppose that it came together. So caring person with evil strategy. So I say when he does his evil strategy, he takes care that it goes smooth. Okay?
Plus and plus make minus.
No, I think it never comes together. So how come that makkar person, so maybe he makes makkar of the people to take care of his maybe family maybe. Is it possible?
I think we should find someone, Shaykh, and then show you. And
Yeah, okay. I would be more than happy to. Definitely, so look, this is certainty. This knowledge is certainty, 100%, but then how we apply, we may make some errors in there, or otherwise it cannot be wrong. Yeah. Yeah, but I ignored that because it's very... Do you know, sometimes, so some people, they may have, eyes not moving very quickly, but there is, sometimes it just shakes, Okay? So it is a proper insane person. Okay? Very insane person. Very insane person. Okay, now,
Sheikh, what about a person who doesn't have eyes that completely coordinate, so they don't go together all the time?
lazy eye.
Maybe slightly, yeah.
I don't know. Lazy eyes. So normally it's because of illness, isn't it? Yeah. But in Arabia, do you know sometimes they have just little bit of what do they call it? Ahwal, but just yeah, just little bit. So in our Arabian culture, it classified as a beauty. When it's just slightly different, you know. So black is just slightly different. So they call it as a beauty. Okay, and sometimes it can be that one eye is blue and one is, for example, brown. That's also, for example, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. Okay, so he had white skin. Okay, and one of his eyes was, do you know, honey color. Okay, and one was green, as far as I remember. Okay, so it is sign of a beauty. Okay, so I have one of my relatives like that. Yeah.
But you know, up to now in this science, what we've done, isn't it? If somebody has a feature which isn't normal, which is against the norm,
Yeah.
that's tend to seen as a bit negative.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So that's against the norm, but then it seems positive.
I said it's beauty. Okay, so for example, let's say that very dark blue eye, when we see that person is proper beautiful person, am I right? But beauty doesn't mean positive thing.
No, not necessarily, but then the fact that has Abu Bakr as-Siddiq had it must be
We need to look and on different aspects maybe, because in terms of honey eye, I didn't describe, did I? Yeah, maybe I did describe the very dark blue, okay, and dark green. But with Abu Bakr it was light green and honey color. So we didn't study the description of that one. Okay, so what about the person whose eye is smaller? Do you know that so his eye is bigger, so you can see the all of the circle as well as small bit of white just around. Do you understand? So now we do not have anyone. It is proper doomed person. Do you know, like a proper eye? So it's, you can see all of that. So because normally we can see the whiteness from the sides. Am I right? But what about if you see the white bit from all over the eye? So that is doomed person. Okay. Sometimes we have a man who, when he looks like a woman. When he looks at the things, like I go. Do you understand what I mean? Okay, because man, how does he look? Oh, where is he? You know. So, but then he looks, oh, so beautiful. You know, it's like a woman. So it is a person who has like a problem in his sexual side actually. Okay, so like eye like of feminine eye.
Yeah.
So it's the person with sexual problem. A person whose eye looks like a kid's eye. Normally, it is the sign. Of a person who do not have dark corners in his head, as well as physically very healthy people. Okay, and then they did test it, and most of the time, these type of people, they lived for very long time. Future, Allah knows, but because of their health condition, their eye looks like a kid's eye. So health conditions support them to have very long life actually. Very healthy people. Okay.
So what do you mean by children's eye?
Sorry?
What do you mean by child's eye?
No, child's eye. No, it's very. When you look at someone's eye, you think you say that his vision, when he looks like a child. His eyes like when looking. When I will see someone, I will let you know. Okay. No, we know. Everyone knows what I mean, ladies. Yeah. So eyes look like kids' eyes. For example, mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
No, it's not that. But just look at your kids' eyes. Okay. So then compare your son's eye to your own eye. So your eye is deeper. So when you look at things, you look at it deeper. You know. And when your kid looks, just goes past like there is difference. Okay, so it means there is no any dark corners in the head, as well as physically he's very, very well off. Everything inside is functioning properly. Okay, very healthy person. Normally that type of people, they live for a long time. Normally the people of very small eye, it is the shameless people. Do you know, small eye? So for example, I have tight eye, but then you should compare me to my own nation. Okay? Or for example, when we go to Japan, doesn't mean that all of the Japanese are shameless people. It's not that, but compare them to themselves. So the person of small, I don't mean tight, but small eye. Okay, so tight from here and tight from there also, small eye. Okay, so we don't have anyone. So it is the shameless people. Okay, behaya hai. Okay. But then when sometimes small eye could be very, very evil. That is, if it is very small and very settled, does not move a lot, you know. Settled, small but not moving a lot. Okay, so it is a person of very, very miserable character, very bad character. Okay, so maybe that all what we can say maybe about the eyes. And next is going to be about the nose. Yeah, so alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Okay, so let's carry on backbiting the people. The best thing to do is to backbite. Now you enjoy it. Because now, before we used to backbite the people without knowledge. Now we have solid knowledge to backbite, you know. Yeah, so okay, so now let's try to find out about the noses. So, I know that everyone here he had some incident on the nose, so it's not the real one. The real one is somewhere in the past. Okay, so anyway, do you know the people with big, tough, you know, nose? It is the person with no brain again. Okay, so as tougher, I mean, as bigger will be the nose, not big in terms of length, but like tough, width. Okay, so that short will be the, like, you can say brightness. So I mean, no any, like, not very intelligent. Okay, and another thing, but what about if someone's nose is very sharp from the top? It is the people who like a conflict. Okay, like
Nose bridge.
No, this part is sharp.
Yeah, nose bridge.
Yeah, yes. No. All of this part is sharp.
All right.
Okay, we don't have anyone here.
Like a bee sting.
Sorry?
Like a bee sting. Yeah. No,
What,
bee.
sharp from here.
Yeah. So this part is sharp. Okay, so it's the people who like to get engaged into the conflicts. The person who has, do you know the smashed nose? Do you know the smashed nose? So they are very into the enjoyments. They like different types of enjoyments, especially the sexual types of enjoyments.
Sorry, you say smash nose.
No, yeah, so it's like
Flat.
flat, yeah. And the people with big holes of the nose is people of anger, high temper.
What was that?
So like angry people. This part, you know, the holes of the nose is wide.
Nostrils.
Yeah, it's proper wide.
Just wide, not lifted up.
Sorry?
Not the shape, just that they're wide.
Yeah. So do you know the holes?
Because some people be like lifted like this.
No. We're talking about the wide one. Not the wide one. Yeah. So let's try to keep, I don't have very wide one. And the person who has, do you know the, like a nose, like an eagle, do you know, eagle nose? Hooked nose. Yeah, so most of the time there will be noble people. And hooked, we do not mean the nose which comes back. Okay, so it's slightly hooked like that. Okay, if you remember in the description of Rasulullah Hind ibn Abi Hala, okay, Hind ibn Abi Hala, adopted son of Rasulullah, says that the nose of the Prophet ﷺ was aqna al-anf. Then scholars gave two interpretations, the scholars of the language. Some said aqna means it slightly just falls like that, So when you look from the side, it's not straight, but it just slightly falls like that. So it's like that. Just, at the end just slightly falls like that, So, and then some said aqna means it just comes and just in the middle just goes like that, So comes and just wavy, just in the middle there, and just goes up like that. So this nose, but with extra, you can say in here, just a bit wavy and goes up. So some said meaning of aqna is just slightly like this, and some said aqna is just when it comes and lifts and then goes straight. Okay, so that is the two interpretations, and both is coming from the linguistic scholars, the scholars of Arabic language. But with our knowledge, the first interpretation matches most, because just slightly hooked, so that is the noble people, the people with noble character.
That Sheikh, in the Bad's description, when she made the description, did she not mention Sheikh's the nose of the Prophet?
Imam Ali and then Hind ibn Abi Hala, two Sahaba, they say that Rasulullah was aqna al-anf, aqna. But then what's the meaning of aqna? So scholars gave them two interpretations. But with our science, so even the other one is still beautiful, but this one with the slightly hooked one, so that's the noble people. But sometimes it could be slightly hooked, but their nose does not start from their eyes, but it starts from the forehead. So it is a person, shameless person. Okay, the person doesn't mind to insult you on your face. Okay, so for example, normally our nose, when you look from the side, it starts from the eye. Am I right? But and then if it's just hooked, but it starts from the forehead, so hooked from the forehead, but it's the shameless people. Okay, with bad character. So the people who do not mind to insult you. And the people, sometimes this bit, the bit with just next to your eye, so it just sometimes it may fall in and then, so it falls in and then goes up. Okay, so it is the people who are very into the enjoyments, into the women actually. Okay, so this bit just falls in. So normally how the nose normally it just comes on the level of forehead, but there are people who it comes and then goes in and then from inside it goes up. Okay, so it is the people who are into the women actually. Okay, so now let's talk about the mouth. Who remembers the description of the mouth of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Who remembers? It was wide. The people of the wide mouth, it is people of courage, brave people. If it is wide, so not small, okay, it's wide actually. Not when you smile, because when you smile, it's everyone's. When you smile, you look like a crocodile, because really big mouth, Yeah, so when you stay just normally, so then if it's wide, so it's brave man.
Sheikh, do you know you said there's two Sahabas that looked they said the top half looked like the Prophet and the bottom half looked like the Prophet, the other Sahaba. Was it
Imam Hassan and Imam
Imam
Hussein.
Hassan as well?
Yeah, so but I don't remember exactly. I think it's Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He is the one who's up to the nose, as far as I remember, from the top up to the nose, looked like Rasulullah, and the rest it was Imam Hassan alayhi salam. But them too. But then again, what was the other Sahabi?
Yeah, there was another one that you told us about.
Yeah. So when he was killed in Uhud, Qurayshi said, "We have killed Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam." That was. Do you know that handsome Sahabi who used to put on very expensive perfume? What's his name? Uthman. It's not Uthman bin Madun. It's Mus'ab ibn Umair. Yeah. So he used to look like, but not like perfectly, but as a shape of the body. Okay, as well as very dark hair, just a bit curly hair. So it was Mus'ab ibn Umair.
So would you say in characteristics wise he was very similar?
Somehow, yeah, because white chest, okay, and then tough hands, and these parts are tough. Yeah, somehow, yeah.
So was he there at the time when the Prophet passed away, after he passed away as well?
No, Mus'ab ibn Umair had been chopped off in the
Okay, right,
so
okay.
he did hit him from there up to there. So it was very tough hit. Just chopped him off. So then he shouted saying, "I killed Muhammad, be happy, O Qurayshis," you know. So it was Mus'ab ibn Umair, yeah. Okay, so that is actually the mouth. So if you have a wide mouth, it's a courage, brave. So now we can understand that all of them, yeah.
So you know you were saying about the hooked nose, if it's slightly hooked,
Yeah,
it's normal people.
yeah.
But then generally, the people whose noses are hooked, they're quite negative animals, isn't it?
No. Hooked. I don't mean the hooked which comes back in.
No, but just at the end as well.
Yes. So just in the slightly hooked.
Yeah.
Just look at this one. Look at this one, and you are talking about like a falcon tap. Am I right? It's just proper hooked. Okay. So you are talking about.
For example,
these.
a rat, that would be just slightly hooked, wouldn't it? That wouldn't be proper hooked.
So that's what you're talking about. Nose hooked. Am I right? So we're talking about just slightly hooked, like that. Yeah. So it is different.
Shaykh, what about a person who's got big lips?
Sorry?
A person who's got big lips? Or
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Yeah. Okay, and the lips, if it is slim, okay, but in the normal situation, in the normal status, they are closing. The lips are meeting each other. Okay, so it's not tough, but slim. But in normal situation, so when he stands, it's closing. The lips are meeting each other. So it is very intelligent person. Also has very high morals, good virtues. But what about if it is very slim, but not meeting each other? It's very evil people. Okay, so with the bad evil character. But if the lips are tough, do you know the? So it's doomed people most of the time. Because now in our time it's a beauty, isn't it? Normally women they put in injections, they pump it. I think that's to make it like bigger. So in our time it's bad. It's just dumb people.
They call them beast on.
Sorry?
It's like a beast on them, and they got it.
Yeah, so like lips big, isn't it? Yeah. So now, for example, from here we can understand that all of them movie heroes that they are trying to show that is strong people, all of them are just people of like foxes and like covered people. Okay, so is there any like a hero, Superman or whatever, Spider-Man, who have a big mouth? Not any of them, am I right? All of them are handsome with very small mouth. So when we eat, do you know that grape, one grape a time, they eat half grape a time, you know, because mouth is too small. So it's proper covered people. Okay, so the courage is when your mouth is wide. Okay, so that's the courage.
You know, some people that have dimples on the sides of their lips. Does that any?
Sorry?
They have dimples.
What is
It's
dimple?
like it's like the
It goes
part of
in
the skin gone in, like that.
Like
Yeah,
when you're
smile,
smiling, Yes, there is some sign.
What is it a good sign or?
It's inshallah, yes.
Oh.
It's inshallah a good sign, yeah. Sometimes, do you know, sometimes we may have a type of lips in which not both of them are fat, but the top one is fat, as well as the top one will be just lying on the lower one. Okay, so have you heard the terminology in which they say it is the enemy of the knowledge? So it is them actually. Okay, so teach them 10,000 years. After 10,000 years, they ask you what's the meaning of A, B, C, D. So it's them. Okay, yeah, but now actually it's one of the signs of the beauty, isn't it? Yeah, because normally the people with the upper lips tough, normally they will have the muscles also tough. Yeah, because all of the brain will go to the muscles also.
What if the bottom lip is bigger than the top?
So, so there is some there is an insanity actually. But these people, they could be smart, but they cannot study nothing. So academically zero. But the other ones who have both of them tough, they're proper dumb people. So the second one, the first one, they could be smart. When they're doing business, they will not be heedless, but when they study, they learn nothing. So academically zero. Okay, so that is average thing. So, alhamdulillah, we have a nice collection of mouths. Okay, so what about the face now? You know, we do not have enough time, or otherwise we have very big knowledge only in the eyes. Because they say everything in the human being can lie except the eyes. Okay, so there are different types of eye reading, and we do have all of them here, but unfortunately we have only 2 hours left, and we have to finish off all of the face and some part of the... So that's why, but we'll see, maybe we'll make up some other lecture, inshallah. The person, do you know the flashy face, a lot of flesh, okay, meat, okay, proper. So not normally there are people, so even if you try to grab their face, it's impossible because there is no meat. And there are people just by 2 fingers you can grab a lot, you know, so that's what that... Sorry? No. Yeah, so it's like a proper flesh. So it is the lazy people, okay, lazy, ignorant people. But what about if the person has a lot of meat on this part? Okay, so it is a person of very tough character, okay, very harsh character. So he may be smiling, etc., but he's not smiling, you know. He will crush you whenever it's needed. When a person does not have any meat on the face, so our scholars, they give 2 opinions. Definitely I follow only one of them. I'm not going to disclose. Some say it is a person who is very concerned about whatever he does. And some said it's the evil man. Okay, so greedy and very evil man. Okay, so so when you do not have any flesh in your face. Okay, so some said it's the person who is very conscious and very focused. Whatever he does, he's very focused. Okay, and some said, some group of scholars said, it's actually a greedy person. Okay, so if you remember, Rasulullah's face used to be a bit circular, with flesh, with a meat in there. Do you remember? Because not having a flesh means greedy person, and having a lot of flesh means if it's everywhere, okay, everywhere in the face, means it's lazy person, lazy ignorant person. But if the flesh is focused only in here, okay, so for example, when you look from the side, so it comes like, so for example, here is the head, okay, and here is the chin, but in here is his face, you know, it's like sticking out, eyes there, okay, so this is the person with tough character, because this part, you know, in here there is a lot of meat, okay, but what about if there is meat, but not a lot, but spread everywhere proportionally? So that is a person of noble character, very wise and very reliable. The person, when he has very small, tight face, okay, so it is a person who has do you know when people, so annoying people, do you know annoying people, evil, annoying people, so you are sitting, you are doing nothing, but he will come to play with you, you know, you say, please can you go, he will go and then come back again, but from different side, annoying people, you know. So you like that. If you have that type of friend, that's it, you are done, you are locked up, okay, so you will be separated only by death, you know. If some of you will die, then you will relax from him, you know, or otherwise that's it, you are locked up.
You can't sit tight from the sides, is it?
No, proper small.
Okay, small.
Small face, okay, small face, okay. Do you know a monkey called macaca?
Yeah.
So that is the face, small face, okay, small face. Just keep in your mind, do you know that people with no proportional face, they will be, most of the time, they will be evil people. Okay, for example, let's say that eyes are much bigger than the rest of the face. Okay, or ears are much, so it's not proportional, if you understand what I mean. Okay, so it is very rarely there will be good people. Most of the time there are evil people. And even there is some hadith, I don't know if it is authentic or not, but it's not fabricated, that's 100% inshallah. Rasulullah saying, "Utlubu hawaijakum min hisan al-wujuh," means ask whatever you need. So if you have some need, desperate for some certain support, so then ask the people of the handsome face. Handsome face doesn't mean, for example, do you know the African person with very beautiful eyes, or a blonde person, Mr. Bean, like from Hollywood. I mean, it does not mean that. Handsome means proportional face. Okay, so anything, any evil character inside, it will reflect on your face, you know. Somehow it will make you to look wrong. Okay. Normally the people who have very, very circular face, most of the time they are very lazy and non-reliable people. And the people of very tall face, it is people of no morals. Okay, so they can, for example, insult you on your face. They don't care about anything. Okay. So if you remember, Rasulullah was like a tall face but circular. Do you remember? Okay. So the noble description, as we explained now. And there is maybe the last thing maybe we can mention in here. Do you know that people sometimes you can see veins, like white on their face, on here, okay, on there, okay, in different. So it is the people of high temper, very brave as well as very angry people. Okay, for example, we have something called al-irq al-hashimi. Al-irq al-hashimi is, do you know vein, green vein which is connected between two eyes that Rasulullah used to have. And even some of the Sahaba, when they describe that the eyebrows of the Prophet were joined, okay, so the scholars, they gave two explanations. Some said it was very slight, small hairs, you know, and some said that from far it would look like that because of that vein in between two eyes. Okay, and we call it al-irq al-hashimi. Most of the time, if you are from Ahl al-Bayt, so there will be that vein. Okay, Hashimis, most of them, they do have that. Okay. Okay, now.
Sheikh, what will it be on the side or standing?
What is? Al-irq al-hashimi. No, between the eyebrows.
Oh, like lying down.
Yeah, yeah. So even they say if Rasulullah would get angry, so it would become wider. It would show off.
Sheikh, what are the ears?
Yeah, we're going to talk about.
You should have worn masks, it would be easier.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So what about the ears? The ladies are protected. I wish if I would bring that Moroccan, you know, yeah, exactly, just to hide the ears. Okay, what do you think? What is the best ears? Who can describe the best ears?
Is it something that's proportionate to your
Of course, that's
face?
100%. All the time, anything proportional in your body, that is the most perfect description of you, you know. Okay, anyway, the sticking out ears, most of the time it is very sharp, very bright people. Okay, this person could be evil or good. We don't care about it, but he's very sharp-minded. Okay, very bright, very intelligent people. When you have like this, you know, sticking out. Okay.
From the top and the bottom, or just the top half?
No, it doesn't matter. Just sticking out. Sticking out. Okay, we'll have some. I remember I used to have friends who used to study with us, and they would be ashamed, you know, because it's like, but it's good. When you have this sticking out, means you are very sharp, very bright. And actually, they were bright. I think Barack Obama is like that, sticking out.
Yeah.
He's bright, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's very intelligent, isn't he?
Very intelligent.
Yeah, he's very intelligent. Yeah. When you have very big ears, big ears means just on the his head and on the sides another two small heads, you know. So it is proper doomed person. Okay, doomed person, but with very healthy body. Okay, again, these type of people normally they have long life. Okay, if there is no any injury incidents, so internally they're in terms of health-wise they're perfectly fine. You know, when you have very big ears. Okay. Okay, let's go to the next bit. Because we don't have time, so we cannot speak about everything. The person who has tough neck, so he is the man of courage, and it is the man of battle all the time. Okay, so it's like a because time to time we like to scratch our face, but the person of tough neck, time to time he needs to scratch his fist, you know, but on someone's face.
You know, they would always say, you know, Khalid bin Walid, they would always want war all the time.
Yeah.
Would you say they would be like very tough?
Most likely,
and
yes.
his description was that tough neck.
Yeah, but yeah, of course, I believe so, definitely.
Broad
Umar,
shoulders.
Umar radiallahu anhu was like that.
Yeah.
Very tough. Okay. And even they narrated from Rasulullah, very thick. Okay, very thick. But what about if it is other way around, very slim? So this person has lack of courage and confidence. Okay, so it's like a soft person actually, just a bit soft. And also we missed one thing. There is two types of. You know, sometimes your neck could be tough but empty, but sometimes it will be tough as well as full. Inside is full. Okay, tough, proper tough. So if it is second, so it is a man of temper, gets angry very quickly. Okay, but the first person, it is only he has a courage and likes to fight. But is it easy to make him angry? It may not be all the time. But with the second person, just he gets angry like that very quickly. Okay.
If it was a neck tough and it's empty, would be angry.
Sorry?
So the neck tough and
Yeah.
it being empty would be angry.
Yeah. So if it is, if it's full, so that is a man of temper. But if it's empty, so courage is there and he likes to fight, but not all the time he gets angry. Okay. Look, now two things. Sometimes some people may have very slim neck. Okay, so it's the people lack of confidence, lack of courage. Okay, but sometimes it will be slim as well as tall also. No brain as well as very covered people. Okay, so you know, sometimes you may not have confidence. Okay, confidence means even, for example, you will not do the businesses, but the second person is covered. He may do business, but when it's a time to fight, he will run away. Okay, so if it is slim but tall, you know, tall neck, okay, but slim, so it is a doomed person as well as covered doomed person. Okay, we don't have anyone here. But what about the person who is in between? Not slim, but not very wide, but closer to be wide. Okay, as well as emptiness and being full is again average, but closer to be full. So that is a noble people with good morals, courage, and everything is there. But then some of the scholars say it could mean the generosity also. It could mean the generosity also, but we disagree. Because a tiger has tough neck, am I right? But is tiger generous? No, so it's impossible. So being tough is courage, nothing to do with the generosity. As well as, do you know the neck, slim and tall neck? So it is very bad makkar person. Covered but proper makkar, you know? You understand the meaning of makkar? Yeah. I'm sorry, I missed one point. Makkar person is when it's other way around. So when someone has slim but tall neck, so it's doomed person as well as covered. But then Makkar person are two, tough and long, or there is no neck. Okay, so head is attached to the body. So then two people are people of Makkar. Evil strategy.